In terms of the current change that you've made, so you left the last company in March, I think you said, for this startup. Um, has this shift changed anything that you think about leadership or risk, or is it just a continuing evolution? I know we talked about the different mentality from the bigger picture with the bigger companies to the startup. Um, is there anything changed in your the way that you deal with people in this environment compared to maybe those more global companies?
I would say no. I think actually I'm pretty consistent. As far as the way that I'm approaching my work right now and how I was approaching it previously. I think as my career evolves, I'm perhaps more eager to find joy in my work than I am about necessarily the next title or the next, that I've got to be at the top of my game, or, just what these sort of traditional career paths might look like. I think coming away from my last role, it was um, it was a very challenging role and one that I really look back on with pride. But it was tremendous amount of work, and both emotionally as well as just from the perspective of the kind of work and challenges we were dealing with. And so having this break has been good and trying to just do things at my own time with a smaller group of people and thinking about my future. um, I'm, what's really important to me is that um, I'm enjoying what I'm doing and that it's not creating a kind of stress where I'm waking up in the middle of the night because I'm worried about something. And So that's kind of what I'm hoping for in the next, whatever I do next.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that's why you've made that change, right? Obviously, the opportunity to do something different was probably invigorating to you to find that joy that you talk about. But was it the burnout and the stress and the pressure that ultimately led to that decision to change, or was it just kind of this opportunity came up and it was one that you wanted to see where that would take you?
No, actually, I think my leaving my last role was the timing was right for me to move on. We brought in a new CEO, and there were going to be some changes in the organization, and it made sense for me um, to leave. And so, this opportunity to come together with a couple of my former colleagues really came out of the fact that we really enjoyed each other, and we liked working together, and we felt like, oh, we've got some time here where we can think about some of the challenges in the workplace and how to solve some of those challenges. And so what's been nice is that I'm thinking about one major challenge, right? I'm not doing multiple things all at the same time. And I'm really able to give it to devote good thinking to it. And that's been very refreshing. So I enjoy that. I'm enjoying that experience right now.
And what have you taken from from the last experiences into this new role now that you think is important to carry through? I mean, I know we've talked about a lot about kind of the structure, the processes, the leadership styles. Is there one specific thing that you think you learned from your past decades of experience leading these corporations into the startup company?
Well, certainly I'm feeling much more relaxed. So that's good because there's nobody saying to me, you got to get it done by then, right by a certain time. It's myself doing the push.
Mhm.
So in some ways, that's a different kind of feeling. And At the same time, um, as I said at the start of the conversation, I'm really in uncomfortable territory because I've never done the 0 to 1 where I'm building something from scratch. And so I'm constantly fighting this like desire to like, oh, I got to get this right, or I've got to figure out these next workflows in the system that we're building. And so I'm really fighting myself from having to do those things, and just get the product out the door. That feels uncomfortable, But at the same time, I need to go through that experience for me to feel like um, I've actually check the box in that, like, I've been able to do it. And
Right.
I know what it takes to do that. And so I think it's good, not to be in your comfort zone all the time. And I often put myself in those kinds of situations. You know, I remember when I joined Ortain to begin with, I knew nothing about our science. It's a forensic science company. It's about origin verification in the supply chain world. Those were things that I'd never even thought about or had heard about. And so, but that's what excited me about the company and why I wanted to join them. And so I find myself, you know, seeking out those kinds of opportunities where there's challenges and things that I haven't done before. There isn't a clear playbook. I'm going to have to really work my brain in a new way to achieve the successes or the goals of the whatever the project is or product or objectives of the company are. So those things are constant. Those things have been constants in my life, I would say.
Do you feel that you have to go through all of those processes to get to where you are now? I mean, obviously, because I feel very similar to what you've just described in terms of I was at a, I mean, I'm a youth soccer coach. I'm not in the same space as you, but I worked in a club for 15 years, kind of, was in different roles there. But when I decided to go out on my own, it felt uncomfortable, but it did feel I feel a lot more relaxed, even though everything's on me now, and I don't have that, say, secure paycheck that comes in the door every day. I'm responsible for that, but I, for some reason, feel a lot fresher. But
Mm,
I don't know. I don't know if I could have done that at 25. I
yeah.
feel like I've had to experience, for me personally, it was the burnout or the stress, relationships breaking down, whatever it may be. I'm trying to figure out if I had to go through all of that to get to this point where I could feel relaxed taking those risks. Is it a case that I needed that experience, education, breaking down to regrow it again? What's your thoughts on that? Do you feel like you could have got to this point of joy without all those experiences and stresses in that environment, but still be uncomfortable?
I want to say that, I mean, obviously, every individual is different, and how they're made up you know, is individual to themselves, or that makeup is different. For me, yes, I think I had to go through the various experiences to get to where I am now. I don't know that I could have started off in this space today where I'm off on my own and felt relaxed about it. um, I definitely couldn't. I wouldn't have known how. I wouldn't have had the skills. I needed to, I had a lot of early mentors in my life who really took me under their wings, that really taught me, or took the time to show me, and really believed in me. And so those experiences were really necessary in my early days for me to be where I am today. So I'm grateful for those folks in my early part of my career, because I don't think I'd be where I am today without that.